Welcome, sports fans, to the hottest sports podcast in the game, JT and the Don, with your hosts, Jimmy Thompson and Donato Bucci. They're covering the most current issues in sports from the 305 to the 412 and all the way to the West Coast. You can follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at JT and the Don, or email them at jtandthedon@gmail.com. Now take it away, guys.
Welcome to the next episode of JT and the Don. I am the Don, Donato Bucci. JT and the Don All Sports Podcast presented by Give Us a Shot Network. Remember to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever you find all of your other favorite podcasts. And leave us a 5-star review. Let's not wait any longer. Let me bring in everyone's favorite, JT, Jimmy Thompson. How you feeling today?
What's up, man? Shoot. I know your team that you picked didn't win the big game, but I just wanted to check in on my friend and see how you're doing, man. You okay, man? Because all your team picks would just been left field, haven't worked out this year, man. I just feel like you can't catch a break when it comes to picking the right team.
And don't think I didn't notice the Chiefs shirt. That's why you're not a Dolphins fan. That's why.
I wore this to watch the game. You know why? Because I was just going along with my pick. I was sticking to my pick that I made before the season started. I was like, you know what? They came this far. I can show them a little bit of support. It's like a $10 T-shirt.
That's why no one takes you seriously, because you claim you're a Dolphins fan.
I am. How much Dolphins gear do I gotta wear?
The fact that you ask anybody, you know
what the real problem is? You just mad that I won't wear a Pittsburgh Steelers jersey. I won't wear that ugly ass terrible towel. This is what this is all about. It doesn't matter what jersey I put on. Colors. If it's not a Steelers jersey or Steelers gear, you're gonna have something to say about it. Admit it.
We've got the best colors in all of sports. That's why our logo, our background is black and yellow. You know, they have a song named after us. So I don't know why you just don't come over to the good side. But listen, you ask any sports fan, I don't care who it is, if they have a team they root for, it's their team, they would tell you they would never wear another sports team. Doesn't matter if they picked them, doesn't matter if that team won them money. By the way, if you were so sure about the Chiefs, did you go to Vegas and bet the Chiefs at the beginning of the year that they were going to win the Super Bowl?
Sorry, I couldn't catch a flight out there to put the money down. No, next year, I'll remember to do that.
Yeah, you're too busy in Canada, just like the hat.
Someone sounds jealous. Can we just start the show? Because I feel like you angry. You might get something right on this show, so I don't know why you're stalling.
I wanted to start, and you kept talking about other things. Just because you get one pick right every 3 years, we have to listen to you for the first 5 minutes of the show. So let's get into it then. Chiefs, Super Bowl champs. We all know that at this point. Second time in 4 years, JT. So let's do a little recap on the game. First, I'm going right to this question. Thoughts on the late penalty called on the Eagles on third down with less than 2 minutes to go in the game?
I mean, what do you want me to say? Was it a holding call? Did he hold Juju?
You asking the question. I ask you on your thoughts. I'll go when I'm ready.
It was clear holding. The referees got to make the right call, right? We always get pissed off when they miss things and they make the wrong call. We made the right call on this, and that's all I got to say about it. You don't want to have a holding call, don't hold. And definitely don't hold when you're that wide open in the field of view. So that's all I got to say about it. I don't understand why people are upset about this. Like, they're supposed to let this go because of, how late it is in the game. Like, just because the game gets late doesn't mean people can start breaking the rules. If that's the case, then they would have been allowed to hit Mahomes in the previous round out of bounds. Like, it just doesn't matter what time of the game it is. Like, if it's that blatant of a penalty, like, you got to call it. I don't understand what the outrage is. The guy, Bradbury, even admitted he held him. Like, it was so obvious.
Listen. One, I don't feel bad for the Eagle fans. All right, that's one. I don't feel bad for them. But come on, JT. If this happened to your Dolphins in the Super Bowl, you'd be irate. You wouldn't even do the show with me tonight. You would refuse to come on. You'd say something about that oh, it's not in my contract. And can you put the comments, because they're backing me up here. Can you scroll those two comments there by our guy Mike Regina? Great intro music, by the way, as always. So yeah, I didn't know he was Canadian either, but he always wears that hat. And right, Juju didn't even know he was held. He never complained. He didn't turn around to the ref. All these guys all the time turn around to the ref and do that signal to throw the flag.
So if you don't cry about the penalty, it doesn't count. Is that what you're saying?
But hold on. Let me get to the other point, is that I felt they let those go all game, right? The only things that they were calling maybe was a false start. And in fact, they weren't even doing that on Lane Johnson. They weren't calling in the neutral zone all night. And I'm almost sure that there's been a defensive holding, a holding by the offensive line that was not called all game. So now you want to choose now. And I understand the thinking, if it's a penalty in the first quarter, it's a penalty late. I understand that. But again, you haven't called that all game, JT. You haven't called it all game. And you talk about, was it a hold? Maybe. I mean, did it really affect his route running? Maybe. But this is the thing. If you don't make the call, and I know the ref isn't supposed to think this way, but you kind of do with less than 2 minutes in the Super Bowl, because you know what's going to happen? You and I are going to talk about it. If you don't make that call, no one knows any better, right? It's game on. Juju doesn't complain. Chiefs don't complain.
Bro, what are you talking about? Like, I was sitting there watching the game. It was like, damn, he held the shit out of him.
Please, like, get out of here. Like, that didn't happen. It was obvious. You want to talk to AJ Brown?
I will say this.
Let's bring AJ. Use your connection. Bring AJ Brown on. He'll tell you how much he was held.
Juju is so washed that I don't think he was going to get there regardless if he got held or not. I thought if you're going to make an argument that it should have been called, I just thought the ball was uncatchable. Like,
but it's only
he was nowhere near where the ball was going, and it had nothing to do with the actual hold that it took place.
But that's on pass interference. That was not the call. Holding occurs before the pass. So the ball can be 50 yards downfield. If you get held before the pass attempt, it's a defensive hold. It's not pass interference. So that rule is out. But the thing is, JT, again, you make this call, you've cost the Super Bowl. You've cost the fans. And that's the way I look at it. I don't care about the Eagles. I don't care about the Chiefs. As a fan, you robbed us of potentially. You
were robbed of potential just barn burner.
We were robbed of a potential great ending, like the Roethlisberger pass to Santonio, like Eli Manning to Plexico. You robbed us, and that's the fact.
Are you all right? Are you having an okay week? Because you just crying about a whole bunch of nothing, man. Like, it was a holding penalty. Get over it. Damn, you wanted to lie on the job on national television in front of everyone in the world.
You let it go all the other times. You let it go all the other times. And you know what the NFL is going to do next year before the season? We're going to make an emphasis on calling these penalties, and then they won't until 2 minutes to go in the Super Bowl.
Nah, they'll only do it when Josh Allen complains about it. Once he complains about it,
here we go.
Shit will get cleaned up.
See, I want to move on. You got to bring up Josh Allen. Why? Quit being a hater. So, did the Chiefs win, or did the Eagles lose it?
Man, let's keep it a buck, man. The Eagles lost it for a variety of reasons, man. One is the defense. This defense was supposed to be all-time great, top 3 most all-time in sacks in a single season. Like, they had like 4 guys with double-digit sacks, and it was supposed to be just the 85 Bears reincarnated. And then, to make matters worse, they go up against one-legged Mahomes. Like, literally got the leg banged up in the game, and I didn't even think he was going to come back and finish. Like, all that, and this defense had 0 sacks and 0 interceptions. Like, their defensive line was manhandled by the Chiefs. Like, you go look at that all 22 film, it's just like Great Wall of China, man. Like, I didn't see any of those difference makers in the Chiefs front 7. I mean, the Eagles front 7 doing anything. So, and then to add on to that, the Hurts fumble that ended up in a score, and then we already talked about the holding penalty. Like, all those things, you just add up, man. It's just the Chiefs didn't make any mistakes. The Eagles clearly lost this game, and it's because of all those things. Like, guys didn't show up, and there was just more mistakes made than the Chiefs made.
So you're going to give the Chiefs no credit? They
I didn't say no. Listen, you always do this.
You blame it on the Eagles. You're blaming it on the Eagles.
That's why I don't want to come on this damn show, man. You always do this. I didn't say nothing about the Chiefs not being good, not getting it done.
JT,
I just said the Eagles. I felt the Eagles lost it.
Exactly.
For all the reasons I just laid out.
So that's what I'm saying. You're giving
mistake football and not being effective. They lost.
Can I go? You already went.
You want to go? You want to cry some more? Go ahead.
I'm not crying. I'm giving you the truth, and you don't want to hear it because you're going to blame Philly, but give the Chiefs no credit. You know who stopped that ferocious front four of the Eagles? A great offensive line. Give them credit. You know who made adjustments?
I just called them a great wall. Are you listening to me?
But you're saying the Eagles lost it.
They did.
So how can you're giving backhanded compliments to the Chiefs, but you're really saying, well, I'm gonna
ask this one more time. Are you okay, man? Like, I feel like something about you this week is different, man. Are you annoyed? You all right, man?
Yes, you're annoyed because I asked the question, did the Chiefs win or the Eagles lose it? You said Eagles lose it, but then you're saying, oh, hey, by the way, yeah, I'm giving credit to the Chiefs. What do you mean? You're talking out both sides of your mouth. Listen, the Chiefs won it. They shut down that ferocious front. All right. They came out with a great game plan with quick passes, knowing that Mahomes couldn't move and the line could only hold for so long. All right. KC shut down the run game of the Eagles, which is how they set up their whole offense. All right. And then most importantly, the halftime adjustments were beautiful. And it was only a 10-point lead. People want to act like the Eagles blew a 3-touchdown lead. Dude, it was 10 points at the half with the Chiefs getting the ball. Like, yo, give Kansas City some credit. It's not always about the team losing it.
Hold on. You making it seem like I just said, oh, Kansas City was trash. They got lucky. That's not what I said.
I know the way you answered the question.
Everybody you just making shit up. You just making shit up.
Everybody watching knew how you answered the question. All right. I'm going to ask another question. It's one or the other. You can't give credit to one and then be like, well, the other one too. No. All right. Who was better?
You want to tell me how to articulate my answer?
Yes. Yeah, because you're not understanding.
You got a list of things that trigger these fits, man. You okay?
You're not understanding. Mahomes.
You're hella triggered tonight, man. All right. Mahomes, what's your next question? I don't want to offend you.
If you would ever stop talking for me to ask a question, I could ask the question. Mahomes or Hurts, who was better in the Super Bowl?
I don't even want to answer this question. I feel like if I answer the wrong way, you're going to go on like a 20-minute tirade about how I don't respect certain people. It's Jalen Hurts. I just thought Jalen Hurts was better, man. 375 total yards, 4 touchdowns. He did have the costly fumble, but he just looked like the better quarterback. Now, was he the healthier quarterback? That's debatable because, I know Mahomes had the ankle injury, was definitely bothering him, but Hurts had the shoulder injury too. Like, let's not forget about that. And it wasn't like Hurts did this in garbage time. Like, the game was back and forth, man. Like, I just thought he played better. I know stats don't tell the whole story, but he did have the better stats. And this is one of those performances where if somebody that played quarterback on another team would have had this performance and a loss, we'd be finding a way to say, you know what? Hey, he was the better quarterback, even though he lost, and this loss is
just
really
say his name. You want to say his name? Say his name.
Nah,
just say his name.
I'm not. You don't even know what I'm talking about. It could be anybody.
We're talking about Josh Allen. It's fine. Go ahead. You always got to bring him up.
I'm not saying anything. You want me to say Justin Herbert's name? Is that what you want to hear?
Oh, was it Justin Herbert? Okay.
So you don't know who it is.
He's the other guy. He's the other guy you hate. You're a hater.
You know what they say about assuming, man. You know what they say about assuming. But no, for real. He played well enough to where he outplayed the guy on the other side. And this is a loss that there's just no way you could really put it on him. Like, he just played so well. So I'm just going to say Jalen Hurts, even though it might be the unpopular opinion.
Listen, they both played really, really good. But when you're talking about better, it was Mahomes. How could it not be? And this is the difference, JT. The difference is no turnovers. I'm sorry. When you're talking about Super Bowl, who played better, legacy on the line, we're splitting hairs. And the difference is Mahomes isn't fumbling the ball that leads to a 6-point touchdown the other way. No turnovers. That's really the deciding factor because you look at the other stuff. Listen, if you want to say, well, Hurts threw for more touchdowns, great. Or he threw for more passing yards, but Mahomes threw for more passing touchdowns. He threw for 3. And then he had 44 yards rushing Mahomes. You could say, well, Hurts had 70. That's fine. But the biggest run of the game was Mahomes late in the game. So that kind of nullifies the 70 yards on 15 carries. Was only rushes it 6 times, 44 yards in the biggest run. I mean, listen, if Mahomes wasn't Mahomes, Kansas City loses that game. Like, they lose that game. He kept them cool. He got them in a position to win late, and that's what he does. And listen, let's face it, the Eagles have better weapons. And Mahomes was able to make he elevated Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney to heights that no one thought they could play at in a Super Bowl. So it's clearly Mahomes. So, but again, Hurts played a great game. But where does Jalen Hurts rank, in your opinion, in the NFL among quarterbacks?
I think he got to be top 5. I think he's, well, with Tom Brady retired, I think he's number 4 behind Allen, Mahomes, and Burrow.
So you got him at number 4?
I got him at number 4. He jumped ahead of Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion, just the way he finished this game and the whole season that he's had. Like, I think Jalen Hurts has arrived. Like, he's like, lock it, forget about it, top 5 quarterback.
Yeah, I think right now, if we're talking right now, I actually agree with you. Believe it or not, you got Mahomes, Burrow.
Oh, Allen. So that means I don't got to hear you. I don't got to hear you cry about it. Did I answer the question the right way?
You did. Good job.
Did it appease you? Did it appease you? I just want to know, did the answer fit what you were looking for? Because I know how sensitive you are.
Yes.
Because if I would have said he was number 2, you'd have had a fit and you would have shut down the whole podcast.
Yeah, your opinion was right this time. I've got him at 4 and then 5 if you want to put A-Rod, Lamar, maybe Justin Herbert. But I think what separates Hurts and getting him in the top 5 now, we saw it in the Super Bowl, is his run threat, right? We know he can pass. Hopefully the shoulder will be better for next year. But he's so dynamic now, JT, that, man, it's scary playing him. Philly's got a good one there. So definitely agree he's in the top 5. All right, so speaking of top 5, what about Andy Reid? JT won his 2nd Super Bowl now. All right. Is he a top 5 NFL coach all time?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt, man. Because this was the only thing that was keeping people from putting him in that category. It's like, all right, can he win the big one? Like, he's so great at everything else, but when it comes down to when the games matter the most, like, what does he look like? And they won. He got 2 Super Bowls. He's arguably a top 5 all-time offensive mind in the game. Like, yeah, I do think he's up there. Like what do we have on his resume that's keeping him out of that conversation? Like, I just don't see how you don't put him in there. Like, everywhere that he has coached, like, the offenses have been lights out, man. It's just now he has the hardware to go along with it.
Well, this was a tougher question to answer than I originally thought, but I still can't put him in the top 5. Like, listen to this list, JT. All right. This is my top 5 list because that's what's important. Is my
Before
list.
I listen to this list, how many Steelers coaches are on this list?
Only one. Only one.
Gee, I'm surprised you didn't say, like, oh,
we got
you only got 3 coaches all time.
I only have 3 since like 1969.
I want to see how many Steelers coaches are on this list because I know it's a low volume. So if you put more than one on there, like, you just being out of control.
I'm not. It's a realistic list. Listen, number 1, Belichick. Number 2, I'm going to go Lombardi. Number 3, Chuck Noll, the Steeler coach. Number 4, Bill Walsh. And then Shula at number 5. Listen, all those guys have 2 or more rings. Shula is the all-time wins leader. Noll has 4. Belichick has, I don't know how many. And Walsh has 3. Would have had 4, maybe 5 that he kept coaching. So
that's a very good list. But I would say this, other than Walsh, Belichick, and I'm 50-50 on Lombardi. I feel like Walsh and Belichick, like, there's no way you're moving them out of that top 5.
How do you move Chuck Noll out? He has more Super Bowls. Listen, he has more Super Bowls than Walsh and more wins all time than Walsh. Walsh doesn't have that many wins.
Yeah, but I just feel like when you're talking about top coaches all time, like, the success and the accolades matter, and, like, the wins matter too. But, like, also you gotta factor in the impact on the game. Like, Bill Walsh's system is just I haven't seen that kind of impact until, like, now, like, Andy Reid. It was so ahead of its time. Like, that's why they were so successful. So you got to factor in, the wins, the accolades, and then also, like, the impact on the game. That's the same way why you can't take Belichick out of there. Like, he has all that stuff. Plus his impact on the game is crazy. And that's why I'm like, Lombardi is 50-50 because I think him and Andy Reid in different ways are at the same peak.
But how would you take out Chuck Noll and Shula? Shula's all-time wins leader. You can't take him out. He's got 2 Super Bowls. And Chuck Noll, I think what you're discrediting is he started.
I love Don Shula. I love Don Shula, but be honest. Who are you taking all time to coach a game? Shula or Andy Reid?
Oh, Don Shula. I would take Shula because look at it. JT, look at it. They both had their moments where they played in a big game as favorites and lost. So then I'm going to go with Don Shula, who did it longer and just as good, if not better than Andy Reid. Because, like, think about Andy Reid. You know, when you compare him to a Joe Gibbs, like Gibbs has more Super Bowls, and you don't think of Joe Gibbs as losing the big games. Andy Reid did. Remember, he's lost too many big games. He's lost 2 Super Bowls. He's the only coach ever to lose back-to-back title games at home. Like, I'm sorry, there's too many big losses by Andy Reid when we're talking top 5 overall. So before we go on to the next,
shout out to Mena. Yeah, I do think the Blue Jays are going all the way. So if they do, we all got to go to Toronto and see the game. Appreciate it.
Are you paying for the hotel up in the skybox there?
Bro, why you starting rumors like I can afford that? Hell
you can.
No, everybody going to chip in.
Have you not watched a game from the hotel room before?
Bro, see, now you just making up stuff.
You don't want to answer it. The answer is yes.
You got proof?
Let me get the photos you sent me. I keep the receipts of the text messages.
This man put my business out there this tax season. That's you supposed to be my guy, man. You ain't looking out.
Not the way you're treating me tonight. All right. Last question, Super Bowl recap, the halftime show. We got to talk about it. Was it great, or do you think it was overrated?
Damn. I really don't want to answer this question. Not even for you, just I feel like if you don't say it was great, man, you're gonna get fried, man. I'm gonna say it. It was overrated, and I love Rihanna. I love Rihanna, and she did a hell of a job, especially being pregnant. But how are we just boosting her up with all this praise? But everybody was shitting on The Weeknd when he did his performance, and I'm like, I thought The Weeknd's performance was better. It had a bigger degree of difficulty. Like, I enjoyed the Rihanna show, but I just want her to get the same level of smoke as The Weeknd got, and I feel like his performance was better. To be honest with you, it shouldn't be a shock to us, but this is the one thing that everyone said when we were sitting around watching the halftime show is, damn, we just did not know Rihanna's catalog was that big. Like, she has hella songs to the point where we all took bets before, all right, what's going to be her first song? Everybody had different songs. I want to say it was like 10, 12 songs. None of them songs was even in the performance. So that should tell you, like, what Carrie Rihanna was, nostalgia was her catalog. It wasn't the performance. But this is who Rihanna is. Like, she shows up. She does what she wants. We let her, and we love her for it. So I'm not shocked. This is par for the course of the Rihanna experience. Like, she does what she wants, and we let her do it.
So before I give my answer, the fact that you said you
don't do it. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Just answer the damn question.
Of people. You said 10 to 12 different songs. That means you had at least 12 people at the mega Super Bowl party.
Just
and I wasn't invited.
Why can't you just answer the question?
Because you can't handle the truth. Listen, I got to say here, the 2 options you gave in this question, I don't know why the people in the production meeting allowed this to happen. But it's somewhere in between, man. She hadn't performed solo in 7 years. Like, there's whether you thought there was rust or the energy wasn't there, whatever you may think, it was still a really good show. Great. Listen, it's not epic like a Michael Jackson halftime show. It wasn't, right? But to say that it was overrated, that's wrong too, because again, you got to factor in that first performance solo in 7 years. And you just said it. Her catalog, there were so many great songs. Like, everyone that came on, people knew them. There wasn't one song that, just a regular fan didn't know.
All the songs, though?
What's that? Yeah, of course.
You knew every song she sang.
I didn't know the words to it, but I knew the song, of course.
That man ain't know them songs.
I did.
Oh,
what do you think I listened to? What do you think I listened to?
Because if you knew all the songs she sang, I'd be like, yo, like the catalog is just that much more impressive. I know
it is.
On.
It is. You want to see my playlist? Some of her songs.
Actually, no, I don't want to see your playlist. I know there's nothing past 2000 on there.
That's not true because she's after 2000.
I doubt she's on it. But no, so what are you saying? Is it was it
somewhere
great?
In between? Somewhere in between.
So here's the thing. I'll give you a few performances. You tell me if it was better than those. The Weeknd.
I don't remember all these now. I remember the
Weeknd
football game, but not the halftime performance. I just halftime performance was unbelievable.
That's man, you watch it. He know damn well I mean, you might have watched the Rihanna one. I'm not gonna fight you on that, but I know you haven't watched past ones. So I feel like you shouldn't be giving.
I remember Beyonce, Lady Gaga. What other one? Last year's was
Adam
nice.
Levine, who they're saying he's the worst Super Bowl performance of all time. I don't remember
that one. Exactly why I didn't remember it. If it's the worst, then why would I remember it?
No, I know why you didn't remember them other ones.
Let me ask you this.
Straight to Lady Gaga.
Last question, then you can move on to the next topic. Did you like last year's halftime show in LA or this one?
Oh, last year's. Last year. It was just perfect, man. Like maybe it's just I'm showing my age, but last year's halftime show, I was just like, man, like
yet you want to make fun of me. Yet you want to make fun of me in my age.
I mean, it's not like Billy Joel was up there, man.
Really, Billy Joel? Man.
Yeah.
The disrespect.
This is why I can't stand you got in that age group, right?
No, listen. I act younger than you. All right. So Spirit's younger than you. Let's just go on to the next topic.
Spirit's younger? That's some old ass shit to say. But from the Super Bowl to the coaching hires. So this past week, offensive coordinator of the Eagles, Shane Steichen, was hired by the Colts. Actually, that was a good job. And defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon was hired by the Arizona Cardinals. So it got me thinking, should we be a little concerned that the losing team in the Super Bowl had both of their coordinators hired before Bieniemy was?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. And so for how many years now in a row has Bieniemy been passed over for a head coach job? And actually, I would say, like, forget about being concerned, because I know you put that question together and you wanted to be nice, but like, forget about being concerned. Like, you should almost be at this point. It's like disgusting, and you should be furious that he keeps getting passed over. And on top of that, JT, the coordinators that he just beat, he took Jonathan Gannon to the woodshed in the second half. And I know people are going to say, oh, that was Andy Reid. Well, was it? Because according to Chad Henne, who's the backup of the Kansas City Chiefs, he said it was Bieniemy that noticed from game clips between the Eagles and Jacksonville earlier in the year how the Eagles were defending motion in the red zone at the goal line. And it was Bieniemy that called those plays, that had those plays in at the goal line, that Sky Moore scored a touchdown on, Kadarius Toney scored a touchdown on, and they used motion. All right. So don't tell me it's all Andy Reid. All right. Because he's not a top 5 coach, Andy Reid, of all time. But listen, the other thing is, people want to say, well,
Noel would have got it done. I know that's what you want to say.
That's right. But listen, then you talk about, oh, well, he doesn't call plays, or it's not his system. Like, what do you mean? Whether he calls the plays or not, I think he does. It looks like he does. But even if he doesn't, did Mike McDaniel call plays for Shanahan? Did Zach Taylor call them for Sean McVay in LA?
Did Matt Nagy call them when he was there?
Exactly. That's the other reference that comes up, is he was in Kansas City and got hired by the Chicago Bears. So why is Bieniemy getting that criticism, but Nagy didn't, McDaniel didn't, Zach Taylor didn't? And listen, I know you're going to be PC and you may not go there, but I'll do it for you and I'll go there. I believe it, and for how long this has been going on, maybe there's something in the interviews, or he's rubbing people the wrong way. I don't know, because we've seen him get pat. I think he's had like 17 interviews, right?
To be honest with you, I'm so sick of that narrative. I think when it's time for me to answer, I'll shock you. But I want to throw that out there. I'm so sick of that narrative. It's like, oh, he must be doing something in interviews. Like, what do you think Eric Bieniemy is doing in these interviews? Like, he's coming in but dropping his pants.
I know.
Like Singletary, him at halftime. Like, he's going to the interviews like every other candidate would. And it's just, I hate that narrative. It's like,
I agree with you.
Like they're acting like Eric Bieniemy is showing up to the interviews and he's talking like he's radio. Like that's not happening.
I know. Relax. I was setting it up for my answer, and you jump in and you mess up my whole lead up.
Get to the punchline.
No, the punchline is, listen, that if Eric Bieniemy, if he was Shane Steichen, or if Bieniemy was white, the Colts would have hired him. How do you hire the losing offensive coordinator and not the winning offensive coordinator? Like that shouldn't happen. I'm sorry. Like Shane Steichen has 1 or 2 years under his belt. Last year was okay. This year was great. But you're going to get hired and he lost. Yet Bieniemy, who's been there 2 Super Bowls now, doesn't. Like I'm saying that, and I know you won't say, but if Bieniemy was white, he would have been hired.
Oh, you trying to say I won't say that if
you won't say it. You don't say it. I know the
Patrick Mahomes these years he wouldn't even be in KC anymore because they would have been hired him. Yeah, I mean that's a fact. But in this particular situation this year, I'm actually going to take a different route. I'm not concerned because of a few reasons. 2, the 2 teams where these Philly coordinators went to, Indy and Arizona, those are bad jobs, man. Like, do I really, talking about as a black coach, do I as a black coach want to go to this dumpster fire that is the Colts and have to deal with Jim Irsay as an owner when it's like he don't even know, he can't commit to a quarterback. He can't even commit to a guy that he likes in Frank Reich. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I want to go there. And then Arizona's even worse. Like, everything's brand new. It's almost a poverty franchise, and people hate Kyler Murray. So if I'm Eric Bieniemy, I'm like, these jobs that were just available to me, I just really don't want to go there. And I'm really starting to put some stock in this conspiracy theory you had. I don't know if it was last year or the year before, when we talk about the Eric Bieniemy saga every year, why he's getting passed over. I'm starting to think maybe the reason why he's not going anywhere is he just might be the guy to succeed Andy Reid when he retires. And I'm starting to think that maybe that deal is in place. And that's the only thing that I can think of, because I don't want to hear about the interview process. Like I said, he's a smart, intelligent coach, successful on the field. The players like him, and he's fiery. And he has Andy Reid, a top 5 coach all time. I don't give a damn what you vouching for him. Like, and he coaches offense, and he coaches the best quarterback in the league. And I said this before, he coached Mahomes to an MVP season when he lost most of his weapons. Like, this is the most impressive coordinator performance on the year. Like, Mahomes winning an MVP without Tyreek and no other weapons. He won it with Juju and MVS. So I got to think that it is, those 2 jobs are not appealing. And I think Andy Reid is like, look, I'm going to hand it over to you once I'm done. And the end for me is coming sooner than people think.
Well, the thing about, you love Kyler Murray. So why would you now say that it wouldn't be a good move for Bieniemy to go there?
I liked Kyler Murray when he had both his ACLs. You know, things
changed. What would it matter? So if he was completely healthy, you would still say Arizona is a good job?
I do. I would say from the quarterback perspective, it's a good job, but it's just like, I feel like all the players who are anybody want out of there, it's an older team. There's shit going on with the GM. Like, is he fired? Is he really still working there? I just feel like, other than Kyler Murray before he got hurt, there was like a lot of question marks, but he at least was enough for me to be like, all right, I'll kick the rocks on Arizona and go there. But it was only if I have like complete control, which they're obviously not going to give to Bieniemy. So if I'm just going there as a coach, like, what's the difference between me going in there and the last time they hired a black coach? You see how that ended. So I wouldn't go to Arizona if I was Bieniemy, and I wouldn't go to the Colts either. Like, they're not great situations for him. Stay in KC. I think the job is going to be his when Reid moves on.
See, can you be certain? Because Andy Reid says, I hope he goes somewhere and gets to call his own plays or whatever, or he gets to run his whole show. Like, I don't even know what that means. But the other thing is, at some point, though, JT, it's not about every job that there's an opening. There's going to be something wrong with it. Like, even Doug Peterson taking over Jacksonville, that was risky, right? Like, there's always going to be that. But like, and I agree, if you can put up our guy Mike, I know German Mike are watching. Thank you. I was just getting to that. Like, it may be an awful job, but at some point, you either have to take it or at least it's got to be offered, JT. Like it's not even being offered.
I disagree with you on that. And you said you wanted me to say it. I'm gonna say it. There's different rules for black coaches and white coaches. A white coach can take an awful job, fail, go back and be a coordinator, and then be right in the running for a head coaching job again. Eric Bieniemy can take this awful job and he might be out the league. It's different circumstances. So you can't say, oh,
I understand.
Awful job, you have to take it, because this man has to think about his whole future. If he goes to Arizona and it don't work out, who's gonna want to hire him? Now, I don't think that's not fair, but that's the reality that we live in.
I agree. And you've always said that. And I agree with you there. The difference this time is, JT, you've had 17 interviews. You're getting passed over. Like, so if the Arizona job was offered, if I'm him, you're taking it.
I'm not taking it. I'm not taking it.
Well, that's where we would disagree. If that was the first time he ever interviewed and it was like, hey, you can have the, Houston Texans, or you can have Arizona, and you're like, I don't want either. Man. I agree with you.
Hey, man. Y'all, if I'm Eric Bieniemy, y'all ain't going to Steve Wilkes me. Y'all ain't going to have set up.
The thing is, I just want to be able to have that opportunity. And he's not even getting that chance. You know what I mean?
Hey, Eric Bieniemy, I've earned the cachet. If Sean Payton ain't taking the job, I ain't taking it either. I'll go
JT, back. Where does this leave Bieniemy? He's a free agent. He's a free agent. And the Chiefs haven't given him a contract.
It'll get done.
All right. I hope for Kansas City's sake, because he's a heck of an offensive coordinator. All right. So with the NFL season now over in the NBA All-Star game this weekend, let's shift over to some hoops, JT. It was announced earlier this week by the Pelicans vice president, David Griffin, that Zion Williamson re-aggravated his hamstring, which had already caused him to be out since January 3rd, and is expected to miss additional weeks after the All-Star break. So, JT, with this Zion injury setback, is his value a sunk cost at this point?
Oh, yeah, 100%, because this was supposed to be the year. He got in great shape. He had a six-pack. This man was out there doing the Tybo videos, and he was supposed to come in and just change the game. And what did he do? Right on cue. Got hurt. Soft tissue injury. Like, if you can't stay healthy when you're at your athletic peak, like, I just can't trust you to stay healthy. You said it, and I feel like everybody gave you shit about it. And I'm going to have your back on this, because this is what real friends do.
Well, let me listen. Okay.
Real friends do, because you would never.
I'm listening now.
That's what real friends do. When they gave him that contract, you said, would I give that contract to Greg Oden? Because at that same point, the difference in the games they had played in their career was like 3 or 4. All right. Mm-hmm. You were like, you didn't like the deal because this is basically the Greg Oden situation. We have hit Greg Oden levels. Like, I know people love Zion. He's sexy. Like, when he does play, like, he's great. But the best ability is availability, and he ain't there. Like, and when he's not there, the whole dynamic of the team changes. So, yeah, like, I can't trust him to stay healthy. Like, before, I had something to look forward to. Like, he was out of shape. It was the weight. It was all these different compound factors. But dude got in great shape this offseason, and he still can't stay healthy. And it's all soft tissue stuff. So I don't know if it's just genetics or it's just something that he's not doing right off the court. But however you want to look at it, yeah, it's a sunk cost, because I don't see any way he returns value on the contract that you gave him as a restricted free agent, which he was going to be. I don't see how you get return value on that. Like, there's just no way. Like, the season is already a mess. Like, as soon as he got hurt, they went in the tank. They lost like 10 straight games. Like, it's just no way they can recoup that, man. And now you're stuck with him with this big contract. And who's going to want him? Like, his value gets lower and lower by the day the more he gets hurt.
Well, first, that question, a sunk cost? Come on, bro. That's the business. That's a biz term. Like, that's a business class term. What are we, MBA night school over here?
Bro, Zion Williamson is an NFT right now. You got to keep that shit in your wallet. You cannot sell him.
So, listen, I mean, it is a sunk cost, though. I hate saying it, but
you don't, because you already said it.
Well, if it's not the foot, it's the ankle. If it's not the ankle, it's the hamstring. If it's not the hamstring, it's the other hamstring. Like, it just seems like he's never going to be able to get on the court for 82 games. You're going to always have to load manage him. And what does that mean? Does he play 1 out of 3 games? Does he play 2 out of 3, 2 out of 4, like every other night throughout his career? I don't see where this gets any better. I mean, now he's missing this huge stretch and you're relying on him. That's why I was like, don't give him the contract yet. What is the rush yet? Because now you're not going to be able to unload it and no one's going to want to play for New Orleans. This is the other thing why they wouldn't want to play for New Orleans. They never know when Zion's going to be healthy enough to play. It was different when people were going to Brooklyn saying, hey, KD's going to be out 1 year and then bam, he's back at it after the Achilles. Here, like you said, he could be coming in the best shape of his life. And there's always that moment in the back of your mind, like, is this the night?
All right. Yeah, when's that tire going to blow?
Yeah, that there's a soft tissue injury and he's out 2 months. Like, I came here to play with him and win a title. We can't win without him, and you're seeing it since January 3rd. I mean, they're like out of the playoff race almost. So I think it is a sunk cost, unfortunately. I hate seeing it for New Orleans because AD wanted out. Then they think they did the right move by signing Zion, and now that's backfiring. So I do feel for the Pelicans, but, I think it is a sunk cost, man.
And then to make matters worse, to add on to everything we just talked about, what makes it worse in his situation is because they paid him so much money, they have to be careful with him. So it's not like, oh yeah, we could make him play through this, and then if he re-aggravates it, we'll deal with it. Like, no, like as soon as he says, oh, I tweaked something, they're gonna shut him down. Like it's 2 months. Like they got to, because they're protecting this potential that everyone is, drilled into their minds that he has. And he was like, oh, like if we just keep the maintenance up and keep the car off the road, like one day he'll just run without issues. Like, nah, man, like it's like a luxury car, man. Once the first issue starts, it just keeps on going. And what do you do with them cars? You sell them. And
you got to keep throwing bad money after bad money.
For real, man. They should have known it was a sunk cost when they took his ass off the lot. But speaking of NBA, man, I'm going to keep this.
Depreciation. That's what The Rock said in Ballers. Depreciation.
Those
cars.
Look at you with all these business terms. Think you smart tonight.
Took me to NBA night school.
There we go. So, NBA All-Star Game in Salt Lake City. I don't understand who agreed to this. I'm very interested to see, what happens, what the guys get into, nightlife. But I think most people will be indoors and they'll show up to the game. But can't do any All-Star talk without talking about snub. So give me your biggest NBA All-Star snub.
So, JT, I got to ask, there's been some snubs that are now injury replacements.
Yeah, so I'm doing this despite the injury replacements. Like, they're still not in there.
Okay, so you're looking at the original roster.
Well, I hope I saw the original roster. I went to the NBA website because there was like so many different ones out there. I think I gave my answer based on this one that I saw. So I'm assuming this is right. So if it's not right, let us know in the comments.
All right. So I'm going to go with the original snubs then, if that's okay.
Right,
like the original snub. I thought the biggest egregious one was Pascal Siakam not being in there.
He's in there now. Yeah, I guess
he is in there now. So that's what I'm saying. I'm going with the original, because he's an injury replacement. So without that injury, he would not be in. So I think it's Siakam. He's averaging 24.9 points, so that's 25 a game. 8 boards, 6 assists. He's played in 43 games. All right. So none of this James Harden stuff where I'm going to miss, 20 games and still want to get in. And listen to this stat. Players with at least so far 1,000 points this year, 250 rebounds, and 250 assists. That list, JT, is LeBron James, your guy Luka Doncic, Jokic, and Siakam. Like, that's a short list, and he's not in the All-Stars selection. And then on top of that, if he finishes with that 25-8-6 line, he'd be the first player ever to have that line or better and not make the All-Star game. I mean, that's insane. We're talking about a historical snub here, JT.
Yeah, Siakam was on my list too, and I didn't pick him because he's in, but yeah, I feel like he should have got him without the injury.
Exactly. That's my point, because that's the true snub. He's still a snub because without the injury, he doesn't get in.
Yeah, man. It's the same. It's the Chris Bosh effect, but Chris Bosh was making all-stars. It's like we just forget about guys in Toronto when they ball out. Yeah, Siakam is sick, but you wrong, bro. You wrong because the dude who is the biggest all-star snub is not even in the game, despite basically everybody opting out of the all-star game like it is a non-BCS bowl game and they got to go to the draft. It's James Harden, man. 21 points, 11 assists, 6 rebounds, shooting 45% from the field and almost 40% from three. How the hell is he not in the All-Star game when everybody is opting out? Like this is honestly the cleanest basketball I've maybe ever seen him play, and it's like we're still not happy with it. Like I don't get it. Like he should be in the All-Star game. Pascal Siakam, I love him. He definitely should be in there. But James Harden need to be in this game, man. Like it's the hate on James Harden right now is outrageous. Like, I do not get this shit, man. Like, how do you look at them stats and be like, nah, we'll pass on him? Like, I don't get it, man, at all.
Listen, couple reasons, and you could put up. There we go, Germ. That's his guy. He's only
exactly.
He's only saying that.
Agree with his ass. James Harden should be in the All-Star game.
He's only saying that because he's a Sixers fan. Listen, if James Harden was
saying that because he watched their games, like he's watching them play.
Listen, he's missed games. And how can you say that stat line? Read that stat line again back to me. What's he got? What's his slash line? 21.9.
21, 11, 6.
Yeah. Siakam has a better stat line than that. I just told you who has better stats.
Do they both get in?
Yeah, but we're talking biggest snub.
I think Harden is the biggest snub.
No, he's not. It's Siakam. Because if you want to go a step further, you can look at Trae Young.
You love some Pascal Siakam, bro. I was like once you latch onto a guy, you go fight for him for life.
Hey,
like,
I'm the one that picked him up. Waiver wire 2018, whatever that
Pascal Siakam, you scouted him early. You've been on the trade ever since, but bro, you wrong. It's James Harden.
Siakam's played more games. Harden's been injured, and on top of that, he's playing with Embiid. Embiid's an MVP type guy. Siakam's got to carry the team. Siakam's got to carry the team. That's a
conversation for another day. Because I know my boy out west about to get number 3, and Embiid is no closer to sniffing his first. I know some people don't want to hear it, but my MVP and your MVP, they just not the same, bro.
Hey, I'm not saying it's Embiid this year. I said last year. This year's different. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later on. So, Germ, I agree, but that goes to show you that the talent the Sixers have, right? I mean, they got Tobias, they got Embiid, they got a depth of guards. The Raptors are supposedly rebuilding. They were looking to trade guys. So he's carrying them.
Even you act like Fred VanVleet don't play for them.
He's great. There's no doubt. He's great. But they don't have an Embiid and they don't have a Tobias Harris. I'm sorry.
Jakob Poeltl.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I forgot.
Hey, you saw the game you just had the other night? Looking Embiid-ish to me.
Yeah, but that was before. They didn't have him before when Siakam made this run. I just gave you the stats. I don't understand how we're arguing the stats.
This the problem. This the problem with you, man. Like it's your way or nothing at all. Can we just both be right? Damn, like you.
No, there's a question.
Siakam, like I say, he shouldn't be in the All-Star game. He's in.
We're talking about biggest snub. He was not originally in. There's an injury replacement. Injury replacement.
The only time I'm agree with Jerm.
All right, so we're gonna go to the final segment. All right, we've changed the name. JT has it up, hot or not. We got
okay.
Yeah,
I can't wait to hear this.
JT, the legal team told me we got a cease and desist letter from ESPN because they say they claim that segment first. We argued that it was JT that came up with it. They said no.
Oh, so you threw me in the bus.
We're gonna leave it to the legal. We're gonna leave it to the legal team, and that's why we joined Give Us a Shot Network so we could stand up to people like ESPN. But we're gonna change it, okay? I made an executive decision. We're gonna change the name.
I'm not gonna lie. Please stop. You sound like you snitching on the witness stand in front of everybody. Stop doing this, man.
We're gonna change the name, hot or not. I want to introduce this one. All right, it's reflective of my heritage. So we're going to go with, all right, this game is called Forget About It or Fugazi. So if you agree with it, if you agree with the segment, you say forget about it, right? Because if someone says, hey, man, that pizza was fire, you say, hey, forget about it, right? It means you agree with it. All right, Fugazi, fake, it's a wrong statement. It's not a hot statement. Does that make sense? It's pretty easy.
You know what?
You're speaking.
I'm gonna give you a chance with this out because of the heritage aspect. You do that in there, so I can't
Listen,
really.
I'm
I couldn't
teaching
really,
you.
like, nah, we can't do it. So we're gonna roll with it. We're gonna roll with it for a little bit, see how it goes. If I mess it up, don't blame me because I don't. Was it forget about it means yes, fugazi means no.
Exactly. See, I'm teaching you Italian American, slang. Come on,
Man, bring me some food. Bring me bring me a frittata. Bring me that. Like, I'm not trying to learn the language. I'm trying to eat the food first.
Bro, you just know frittata from Money Talks, all right?
Bro, frittatas are everywhere. I'm
All right,
Victor
so
Jr. Give me my stuff. Come on, man.
First one, the NIL is a disaster and is out of control.
Nope. Next question.
Well, you got to answer it. What's the lingo? What's the lingo? Fugazi, right?
No.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Do I gotta put an accent on this, or can I just say it normal?
You can say it normal. You can try an accent. I won't.
Nah, I ain't trying to get in trouble. But yeah, it's fugazi. Like, shut up. Just shut up. Y'all had no problem when the NCAA was making all this money and the people that was actually driving the revenue wasn't getting shit. But now it's like, now that people have options, now everything's a problem. It's out of control. Like, nah, like, this is business. Business is just how it goes. It's not out of control. You just got to get used to it. And people aren't used to the freedom and the choices that the players have now with NIL that they didn't have before. And that's the only difference, is that the balance of power people are not used to.
Exactly. No, it's fugazi, right? I mean, you throw another compound sentence in here, but it's not a disaster. This is great. Guys are finally getting paid, right, for their name, image, and likeness because they're known for their playing ability, all right? And it's not out of control because you know why? Because the NCAA is allowing this, all right? Do I think there should be some more constraint? Sure. But I think there's a lot of other things that also they should be doing to not necessarily fix the game, but to get players paid properly, right? In addition to NIL, but that's another conversation for another day. NCAA still wants to talk about, well, infraction of this because they had an extra practice and they had an extra coach on the field when they weren't allowed. But yet you want to look at everything else, but then not try to fix this and then say, oh, it's out of control and everything else. No, it's not out of control. You've allowed it to get to this.
The only thing that NIL is affecting really is the JUCO, like, because they don't need it anymore. Like, between NIL and transfer portal, like, people don't have to go to JUCO, and that's the only thing that's being.
But there's still going to be great players there, right?
Yeah.
There's still going to be great players there.
Pay them kids, man. They earned it, man. Like, don't be mad. Hey, Jalen Rashada, man. I hope you get all that money they promised you somewhere, man.
He not getting it from the Florida Gators.
He lost all that $14 million.
Should have stayed at Miami.
Yeah, hey man, I can't feel bad for you. All right, next one. Patrick Mahomes' performance is more iconic than the Jordan flu game. Ooh, forget about it or fugazi.
Oh, forget about it, right? Because there was no Jordan. You mean the Jordan fake flu game? That's how I'm going to name it. The Jordan fake flu game. He didn't have no flu. He either made it up because he was worried about losing or he drank too much the night before. So if you drank too much the night before, you put that on yourself. All right. So I'm not giving you credit for something you did to yourself. Patrick Mahomes' injury was legit because someone did it to him. So of course it's more iconic because the Jordan flu game was a fake. That was a fugazi. But what Mahomes did, forget about it, JT.
I agree with you, man. This man just was drunk. Like, ain't no way around it. He wasn't hurt. He was just drunk, man. Like, he was hungover. And Mahomes not only was really hurt, he got re-injured in the game. So that alone makes it better than me. I know how much you don't like Michael Jordan, but I'll throw this out there. The Eagles in this Super Bowl was a more formidable opponent than the 96-97 Jazz. And I would just leave it at that.
Hey, you always said there's nothing else to do in Utah but drink. So he got drunk in his hotel room.
And Jordan gonna do that regardless. Like, he could be anywhere. He gonna drink. That's just how he is.
So next one, the Bears should move on from Justin Fields with the first pick in the upcoming NFL draft.
Oh, that's a good question because, there are the rumors out there that they are going to move on from him. So for me personally, I want to say it's fugazi. They should not. But I feel like I got to answer this like in the scope of everybody, like answering this question, like general public. And it's forget about it because it makes sense why they would, even though I don't agree with it. Like, specifically for the reason of this. He hasn't developed as a passer. And what I mean by that is I just feel like he hasn't developed the feel for the game to be a passer, even though the team is really, really bad. And I look at other guys that have been in that similar situation, like Josh Allen. Like, he was on a sorry team for 2 years, but he never looked this bad as a passer during those 2 years. Like, even Daniel Jones, like, we get on him all the time. Like, Daniel Jones has never looked this bad as a passer. He's played on some not great teams. So I think just his feel for the quarterback position, maybe it is the talent, but I just feel like he hasn't developed it enough. Like, the running stuff is great, but I just feel like the feel to play the quarterback position, he hasn't developed it yet. And it just can't be, oh, the talent around him is bad, because usually when the talent is bad, that's when you start seeing you start to see quarterbacks take chances, and they might make mistakes, but at least you're like, oh, damn, like he flashed something. But I'm not seeing that from him. And anybody besides probably you and me and maybe like 5% of the population that says this is not right, shut up, because you're lying to yourself. Because what's going to happen is a year from now, when the Bears do something, like they look good, what's the first thing they're going to say? Oh, the Bears can't win with Justin Fields because you can't win with the running quarterback. So everyone that's trying to give him this flowers now, like, keep that same energy when he keeps playing and it comes time to actually talk about, all right, paying the guy, because I know exactly what's going to happen. Like, you don't think he's a franchise quarterback. So that's why I was saying, for me, I don't think they should move on, but I feel like if you're asking the average person, they will say they should move on. And these are the reasons why I think that's the case.
Yeah, but that's not the way you're supposed to look at it. You're supposed to, do you agree with it or not?
I don't. I don't.
All right, so now it's my turn. You just went through this whole diatribe now.
Real short. I don't agree with it because I just love
Justin Fields and
I trust the talent. But if I'm going to court, I can't argue these facts. Like, if there's a Bryce Young and a CJ Stroud in this draft, like, I can't argue the facts to say, like, yeah, I'm going to pass on these guys because this dude was just running wild for like 6 straight weeks. Like, that's not enough for a GM to say, like, let's keep him. But for me, I think the talent is there. So that's why I was kind of conflicted on which way to answer.
Well, it's Fugazi. I mean, because like you just said, the talent is there. And this is the thing. I hate when teams just keep rebuilding and trying to go after another franchise quarterback. All right, so who are you going to take? CJ Stroud, Bryce Young? Are they really better than Justin Fields, who's now been in the game and has shown that, hey, he can somewhat carry a team that has no weapons? You didn't get him a receiver. The tight end situation is kind of getting there. Running back, still no running back. How good's the offensive line? You just traded Roquan Smith. I mean, what is he really working with? You think Bryce Young's going to do any better, even giving him 2 years? You think CJ Stroud's going to do any better, giving him two years? Like,
nah, Will Levis will go in there and change the game.
At some point, yeah, whether it's Will Levis, you think he's going to do that great? Like, he's not going to do better than Justin Fields. I mean, at some point, you got to stick with your guy, build around him like they're doing with Jalen Hurts, and he can get you there. But so it's definitely a Fugazi.
Oh, this one's interesting. Patrick Mahomes will surpass Tom Brady.
Fugazi. That's a bad forget about it, right? Like, forget about it. Come on. That's a Fugazi. Because
you did a list. You did a list of all these different dialects. I feel
it's a little
forget
different
about it could
variation.
be like 5 different things. You gotta have that ready.
I'll tell you what then. Here's for the viewers and for you, your homework before we do the next forget about it or Fugazi. Watch Donnie Brasco. He explains the different tones to forget about it and what they mean.
I gotta learn the accent.
All right.
Great.
So you go watch Donnie Brasco with Johnny Depp. Listen, it's a Fugazi because what Tom Brady did and has done, I don't really know if we ever will see again. That's no knock on Mahomes. Just what Tom Brady did in football is just so difficult that I honestly don't think anyone in our lifetime is going to do it, even though Mahomes is off to a great start. It's so tough to keep this up because at some point, JT, instead of us asking, is Travis Kelce still there? Andy Reid still there? Bieniemy still there? None of those three are going to be there. Mahomes still will be, but he's not going to have those 3 guys.
Yeah, I agree. It's Fugazi. And the main reason is because Andy Reid is going to retire too soon in his career. Like, you look at Tom Brady, 95% of his career is tied to Bill Belichick, who is probably the best coach of all time. And he played 20 years in a generationally weak AFC East. Like, Mahomes is not going to get that scenario. So just for that alone, hell no, he can't catch Tom Brady. If he does, he is the best athlete ever in any sport.
Was that it?
You too shocked to respawn?
What's the respawn? I said Fugazi first, and I told you Andy Reid, Kelsey, Bieniemy, they ain't gonna be there forever.
Bieniemy might be there, but it might not be enough. Like, I just think him not being tied to Andy Reid 95% of his career is the reason why he's not going to catch Tom.
Yeah, that's true. Plus, he's going to have to go against Justin Herbert. Now you got Russell Wilson, maybe Sean Payton in that division. It's definitely a tougher division than the AFC East was for about 15, 16 seasons, for sure. So, all right, JT. Well, great episode, man. Thank you to all the fans and listeners out there, and to Give Us a Shot Network for giving us a shot and presenting JT and the Don All Sports Podcast. And remember, you can find us on all of the major platforms. And remember, if you like what we do, leave us a 5-star review. And JT,
if you don't like what we do,
leave us a 5-star review. And remember to please follow us on social media. Our handle, JT and the Don. We can be found on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook. So, JT, until the next episode, see ya.
Peace.